All right, let's talk about AI. There is a ton of money flying around right now, just colossal sums. And it's got everyone asking the same thing. Is this the start of a genuine tech revolution, or are we watching another massive bubble inflate right before our eyes?
You can feel the nervousness in the market, right? I mean, these AI company valuations are through the roof, and for a lot of investors, it's giving them some serious 2008 flashbacks. They're starting to whisper about a potential AI Lehman moment.
So, could it really happen? Could the very technology that's supposed to build this amazing future actually be the thing that triggers a financial crisis? I know it sounds a little dramatic, almost alarmist, but you've got serious people, serious analysts, drawing some really unsettling parallels.
Yeah, and that quote, man, it just cuts right to the bone, doesn't it? If they don't produce. The pressure here is just, it's immense. Because if these big AI players, especially the ones at the very top, can't figure out how to turn all this incredible promise into actual real-world profit, well, the fallout could be huge.
Okay, so what's even fueling this whole high-stakes game? Well, a huge part of it comes down to this really fascinating, maybe even a little controversial financial strategy. It's basically woven all the biggest names in tech into this super complex web. Let's try and untangle it.
It's this thing called circular financing, and the idea is actually pretty simple when you break it down. Imagine a giant tech company invests, say, a few $1 billion into a hot new AI startup. Now, what does that startup need more than anything? Computing power, a ton of it. So what do? They turn right around and spend a huge chunk of that investment money on cloud services from the very same company that just gave them the cash.
And the perfect example of this is the Microsoft OpenAI deal. So, step 1, Microsoft pumps billions into OpenAI. Step 2, OpenAI needs a crazy amount of power to run things like GPT, so they become a huge customer for Microsoft's Azure cloud services. And step 3, well, OpenAI gets the cash it desperately needs, Microsoft's cloud revenue numbers look amazing, which investors absolutely love, and boom, both of their valuations go up. It's a win-win, at least on paper.
But look, this is not just a Microsoft and OpenAI thing. This web is tangled all across the industry. You've got Nvidia, who's basically the king of AI chips, partnering with, well, pretty much everyone to make sure their hardware is the bedrock for all of this. You've got other giants like SoftBank and Oracle jumping in together. And get this last one. Nvidia and Oracle are working on sovereign AI solutions. We're talking about building entire AI systems for countries, giving them their own data and intelligence. The scale of this is just massive.
So what all this financial maneuvering does is create this really interesting split. It's like the AI world isn't one single market. It's actually two totally separate economies, and they're playing by completely different rules. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so on one side, you've got the profit makers. These are the guys selling the picks and shovels in the AI gold rush. You know, companies like Nvidia making the essential chips, or Google with its massive pre-existing infrastructure. They are making real money right now. Then on the other side, you have the promise makers. Think OpenAI. They have mind-boggling revenues and valuations, but they're not actually profitable. They live and die by that constant stream of investment money. And when we talk about that investment money, the numbers are just staggering. For a company like OpenAI to really achieve its ultimate vision, we're talking about raising something like $700 billion. Can you even imagine? When you aren't making a profit, a number like that puts an almost unimaginable amount of pressure on you to just keep the cash flowing in. But here's the thing. As crazy as all this seems, we've kind of seen this movie before, right? Every huge technological leap in history had to go through a similar phase. This chaotic, messy, and super expensive period where you're just building out the basic infrastructure. I mean, just think about it. Back in the 1800s, it was laying thousands of miles of railroad track. In the early 1900s, we were wiring the entire country for electricity. Then, in the 90s, we laid all that fiber optic cable that became the internet's backbone. And today? Well, today it's the AI infrastructure. We're talking massive data centers, beefing up the energy grid, designing custom chips. It's always this enormous upfront cost before the real widespread profits can even begin. So, does all this history mean a crash is coming? Well, not necessarily. What it probably points to is something a little different, a period of really intense competition and eventually consolidation. Why? Because the established giants, they are not just sitting back and watching this happen. Remember those profit makers we talked about? Your Googles, your Teslas? These guys have incredibly deep pockets and tons of other ways to make money. They are not about to just hand over the future of AI to the new guys on the block. No way. The big dogs are officially in the race, and that is dialing up the pressure to 11. Let's just take Google, for example. They're going head-to-head with OpenAI with their Gemini model. But here's the crucial difference. Google doesn't need Gemini to make money tomorrow. They have search and they have YouTube, arguably two of the most profitable machines ever created, that are just printing cash to fund all of their AI research. That is a massive competitive advantage. And then there's Elon Musk. Of course, he's not about to sit around and wait in line for Nvidia's chips. Nope. He's come out with this incredibly bold, some people might even say crazy claim that Tesla itself is going to outproduce the entire chip industry. And look, it's easy to dismiss that as just Elon being Elon. But you're talking about a guy with a net worth in the hundreds of billions who has a pretty solid track record of disrupting entire industries, from cars to literal space travel. So when he says he's coming for a market, you kind of have to take him seriously. And that just adds another layer of pressure on everybody else.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, maybe this isn't a fragile bubble that's just waiting to pop. Maybe what we're really seeing are the opening shots of an all-out battle, a war between titans. All that pressure from the profitable old guard like Google and the disruptive new forces like Tesla, it's going to force a reckoning. Something's got to give. What this probably means is a massive wave of consolidation, mergers, acquisitions, the works, which leaves us with the one final question. In this great AI consolidation, who gets acquired and who does the acquiring? Who's going to be left standing? That's the real story to watch.